Hello, and on behalf of the Center for Career Services at GW, we are delighted that you could join us today for our Abt Associates Information Session with Ileana Rock. I will let her introduce herself in just a moment, but wanted to let you know what to expect for today's session. We will be recording today's event and will send out the recording as well as the slide deck shortly after the event. We also recommend that attendees use headphones for best sound quality. Ileana will spend about 20 minutes providing an insider's perspective into Abt Associates and specifically speak to the type of opportunities that they have available, as well as how to make your application stand out. All attendees are intentionally muted, but there will be plenty of time to ask questions in the end. If you have specific questions during the event, please feel free to add them to the Q&A box, and we will get them directly to Ileana. At this time, I will turn it over to Ileana.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I'm excited to be here with you all. My name is Ileana Rock, and I'm a recruiter here at Abt Associates. And Abt Associates is a large research and consulting firm, if you're not familiar with it. So we work across a variety of areas and I'll go into this further in the presentation, from housing to health, to social inclusion, workforce and economic mobility, a whole variety of areas. And with that, we have a lot of opportunities as well to, not only do internships, but full-time jobs and all kinds of things. So I'll go into all of that later in the presentation. How do I change the slide?
I can change it for you.
Okay, perfect. Whenever you're ready.
Is it changing for you? It's changing for me.
No, it didn't change for me. Okay, there. Oh, and we're back. Okay, perfect. So the one guiding thing that we all basically strive for at Abt is our mission, and our mission is to improve the quality of life and economic well-being of people worldwide. So all of our project work and all of that, it all has to do with, is it improving the lives of others? Are we helping to, make the world a better place? So when we're looking at projects and stuff that we're looking to take on, we always have our mission in the back of our minds, and we're kind of always comparing it and just making sure that, it aligns well. While some companies may be more after profits, I would say we're more after the well-being of others, and whether, we are striving to take on projects that really do make an impact in this world. Next slide. Our core values. So our core values are mission, excellence, diversity, respect, integrity, and balance. So those also kind of guide us when we're making decisions as far as not only what projects we're working on, but when we're in the office and all of that. So our core values are definitely really, really important to us. So we have opportunities for people just starting out in their career, as well as senior technical experts and managers. We have a robust internship program that we run every year, and that gets posted usually around December, January. And then as we win project work, essentially how Abt works is we're a large government contractor, and we're constantly bidding on new projects. And when we submit the proposal and we win a bid, then we staff up and we have like more open positions. So there's not really a particular time necessarily where we have our full-time positions open, but rather they're kind of always being posted throughout the year. So I would say the best way to look for that is just to check our career site. So this is just an image of part of our office, bold ideas, real results. That's the slogan that you'll hear a lot. So one thing that we think helps us stand apart are our diverse, flexible, and inclusive working environment, our comprehensive benefits and competitive salaries, market mobility place to foster career development. So what market mobility place is essentially is if I'm a project director and I'm working on a project, for example, I'm working on a project that has to do with reducing childhood obesity, and I say, oh, I need someone who's really good at coding in Python, for example. I can post to Mobility Marketplace, and as a researcher, someone can see that and say, oh, that project sounds really, really interesting, and I actually have those skills, and that's kind of our way of connecting project directors with other talent. So even though, you might be working in like the health section, and that's kind of what you specialize in, you might see a project that kind of looks interesting to you. And if you have like the time and the bandwidth to take it on, the Mobility Marketplace allows you to see those opportunities and kind of take that on as it fits in your schedule. And then we're also, of course, an equal opportunity employer. So Abt Associates uses data and bold thinking to improve the quality of lives worldwide, from increasing crop yields and combating infectious diseases to ensuring safe drinking water and promoting access to affordable housing and more. We partner with clients and communities to tackle their complex challenges. So as I kind of mentioned before, a lot of what we do is taking on, not only problems within the U.S., but also worldwide, and just helping to, improve the lives of others, as well as working on projects that can kind of bolster an economy, especially in more so in poor areas. So a lot of our projects you'll see take place either in Africa, Asia, or the Middle East. So those are a lot of where our projects take place. So this is kind of a graph that has all kinds of facts about us. So the way we work is when we're working on a project, for example, if I'm working on a project in Jordan, or that has to do with the health system in Jordan, we have what we call field staff, and you can see where it says 58% are field staff. So what we would be doing is we would be hiring Jordanians, so local country nationals, to work on that project. So we're not necessarily sending people abroad to work there, but rather we're hiring people from the local economy to work there. And then we would, in the US, we do like the behind the scenes research. So, if I'm working on that project in Jordan, for example, I would be doing, behind the scenes research here in the US, and then, working with my counterparts in Jordan to do project implementation and sharing my findings and that sort of thing. So 58% are field-based, meaning they're all over the world. And then 38% are in the US. So in the US, we have our headquarters in Rockville, Maryland. So not too far from GW, just right outside DC. And then we have and there's about 500 staff in that. And then we have another large office in Cambridge, Massachusetts. I think there's about 400 people there. And then we have some smaller offices spread out throughout the US. So we have one in like Boulder, Durham, New York, but those are small offices, like 20 to 30 people, if that. So most of our US-based staff is based in either Cambridge, Massachusetts, or Rockville, Maryland. And then we also have our counterpart Abt Australia. So we have 2 Australian offices that we work very closely with. And then we also have Abt Britain. So we have an office in London as well. And then you'll see we have 8 key focus areas. So this is where most of our projects can fall into these categories, and I'm going to be going into more depth throughout the presentation, but just to give you a preview, those are education, youth and families, environment and energy, food security and agriculture, gender equality and social inclusion, governance and justice, health, housing, community and asset building, and workforce and economic mobility. So all of our projects relate back to one of those key areas. And then we have 5 cross-cutting core capabilities. So those are communications and behavior change, data capture and surveys, digital transformations, research, monitoring and evaluation, technical assistance and implementation. So every year, at the top, you can also see that we work with 50+ countries. So at any given time, we usually have field staff in 50 to 60 different countries. It depends a little bit just on the exact project work that we have going on. It's always fluctuating, where projects are ending, new projects are starting, but usually we have projects going on in about 50 different countries at any given time. And then we are, as I said, we partner with a lot of different people. As you can see, we have 17,800 partners. And so our partners are our clients, essentially. So we're a large government contractor, and with that, we work very heavily with the federal government. So we work with the Department of Justice, Transportation, Department of Energy, all kinds, almost every government agency you can think of, we probably work with them in some sort of capacity. And then we also work with local and state governments as well, and nonprofits and companies. So we work with like the Washington Post or the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So these are all examples of what are our partners, and that's essentially how we get our funding for our projects. And this is just an image. So we think boldly, crossing disciplines, methods, and geographies to provide research, consulting, and technical services globally in the areas of health, environmental, social policy, technology, and international development. So I think I mentioned this before, our core capabilities are communications and behavior change, data capture and surveys, digital transformations, research, monitoring and evaluation, and technical assistance and implementation. And just to kind of go into more depth, so communications and behavior changes. So we're looking at strategic communications, social and behavior changes, creative and interactive design, conference event and events management. And then we have 4 main divisions within Abt. So we have our health, our division of health and environment. We have our social and economic policy division. We have our international development division. And then we also have our what we call DSET, which is data science and enabling technologies. And I'll go through that as we get further in the presentation. But under health, you can find behavior health, chronic/non-communicable diseases, health policy and systems. So all of our health projects that are within the U.S. are located under domestic health. And then we have data capture and surveys. So just to go more in depth with that, we have large-scale in-house telephone and web-based surveys with multiple language interviewing. So we have 3 call centers, and within those call centers, they're constantly making phone calls about surveys and stuff, and that's kind of how we capture our data for a lot of the projects that we work on. We have advanced technology, CATI platform, advanced analytics, dashboards and panel management, complete mail survey processing, and then full-time coding, sampling, and data processing. That's definitely become a huge thing for us is coding. So I always say, as my advice to students, like if you can knowing the most amount of coding languages can only really help you. So whether it's R or Python or Stata, any of that is really, really helpful to know. Like even if you just know one or two of them, that can definitely give you a leg up in the interview process. And this is our information technology. So what we call DSET. So what falls under that is just data science, surveys, enabling technology, and digital transformation. So digital transformations are user-centric design, advanced analytics, large-scale data management, mobile applications and data visualization, website development, national indicator and scoreboard dashboards, cloud-based fields logistics tracking systems, and GIS/GPS trackers. So all of these are used in our project work. And then I think I mentioned before, we have our social and economic policy division. So within that, you're going to find all of our projects that are related to education, youth and families, workforce and economic mobility, and housing and communities. And so we have research, monitoring, and evaluation as another core capability. So it uses mixed methods, qualitative and quantitative research, literature reviews, advanced statistical analysis, random assignment and non-experimental evaluations, rapid cycle evaluations, program and policy evaluations, monitoring evaluation and learning framework, institutional review boards. So as I said before, these are all methods that we use in our project work for our clients. And then we have our international development division. So they focus on all projects that are abroad, so obviously not in the US. And it ranges in topics from health systems to infectious diseases, food security and agriculture, governance and justice, private sector health, reproductive, maternal, newborn, and child health, just to name a few. All right, and then for our technical assistance, we have for another core capabilities, technical assistance and implementation. So we have research planning, administrative support, project management and resource tracking / allocation, program evaluation, development and metrics, capacity building, training materials, development and implementation, governance and policy analysis, and public-private partnerships. And then we have, as I mentioned before, we have our division of health and environment. So this is the other part of it, is the environment and energy sector. So we work on projects that are related to climate change, environmental science, sustainable energy. All right, so this is one of our key areas of research, so education, youth, and families. So you'll find that you'll have projects related to adult learning, at-risk and high-need students, early childhood, post-secondary preparation and completion, reading and literacy, science, technology, and engineering and math, teacher and leader preparation training, and workforce development. So an example is just any project that, like, for example, we had one project where they were going into schools to evaluate like the learning and, you know, what teachers were doing to prepare for their lessons and things like that. So any project that is related to education or children of any sort will fall under this category. Environment and energy. So we have projects related to climate change, environmental economics and markets, environmental science, policy and regulation, sustainable energy, infrastructure and resilience, and water. So basically, climate change is huge for us. So any project that's related to climate change or sustainable energy, any of that would fall under this category. I know we were working on one project that had to do with the Chesapeake and cleaning up the Chesapeake. So any of those type of projects would fall under this category. Food security and agriculture. So under this, you have agriculture policy, market systems and value chain strengthening, nutrition, food safety and food loss, U.S. food security, and then women, youth, and vulnerable groups. So essentially, the way it works is a lot of times in other countries that don't necessarily have the resources that we do in the U.S., they help to essentially go into these countries and help with crop development, working with local communities to help them kind of understand their land a little more, and how they can build sustainable crops so that they can continue to feed themselves. So that would fall under that. Gender equality and social inclusion. Ending gender-based violence, empowering women and girls, engaging men to advance rights for everyone, and social inclusion. Governance and justice. So decentralization, transparency and institutional effectiveness, justice, rights, and empowerment, thinking and working politically. So for this one, one project that we're working on that I think is really interesting is evaluating probation and parole home visits. So they're taking a look at kind of how that looks. And there's more info. If you go on our website, you can filter our projects by the different focus areas. So if you're ever interested in checking out, environment or health or, whatever it is you're interested in, you can kind of filter it so that you can take a look at all projects that fall under that focus area. But I just thought that the evaluating probation and parole home visits was a really, really interesting project. Health. So we have behavioral health, chronic/non-communicable diseases, health policy and systems, infectious diseases, private sector health, reproductive, maternal, newborn, and child health. So under health, we have one project we're working on right now is infectious diseases and the impact on healthcare workers. So just evaluating how that impacts them. And then we have housing, community, and asset building. So home ownership and economic inclusion, community development and neighborhood renewal, national and community service, housing policies and programs, reducing and preventing homelessness. Every year we participate in one of our projects is the homelessness survey that just takes a look at what the homelessness is in the DC area and kind of what we could do about that. And then another project that we are working on is assessing HUD's I Wish model for aging in place. So that's just another project that would fall under this category. And then we have workforce and economic mobility. So essentially this is just how we navigate jobs and how we can help people to move up. So career pathways, family support, and child youth development, food assistance programs and nutrition, and workforce development. So one project we're working on within this space is connecting adult education and workforce skills. So that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Abt Associates is definitely a great place to work. I've been there for almost a year now, and I truly connect with the mission and the work that we're doing. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the Q&A section, and we can address them at the end. All right, so if you're looking for internship opportunities, our applications typically go out around late December, early January. So I would take a look then, and last year we had about 17 positions, so we'll probably have somewhere around the same, and there's a whole variety of different positions from like finance to marketing to HR to international development to global business. So almost anything you can think of, we probably have some sort of internship related to it. And then as far as entry-level full-time positions, we have what we call, when you graduate, we have research assistant positions. So that's what, when you come out of your undergrad, you'd be eligible for a research assistant job. And essentially the way we work it is in your first year or so, we would assign you to different projects and stuff, and so we would have like that flexibility. We would ask that you have that flexibility of willing to work on a lot of different topics and willingness to, you know, try different things rather than specialize in one area. So in addition to coding, skills that Abt looks for in applicants is definitely writing skills, note-taking. Those are all huge areas that we look at. And then also communication. We're very team-oriented, team-based, so there's a lot of team projects and stuff, so being able to work well as a team is something that's really, really important. And then as far as, for some positions, we do accept visas, or we do sponsor visas, but those are for usually like much or higher up positions. For internships, we do accept, I think it's called OPT, so we can accept that for internships. So there aren't necessarily any positions internationally. I work on the domestic side, so I personally just hire for within the U.S. Is there anything else? Yes, I can definitely provide you guys my contact information. I'll put it in. I think, let's see. I believe that Kelly can share my contact information with you guys. But yeah, you can have my email, and feel free to send me an email if you have any follow-up questions or anything like that.
Ileana, we just want to thank you so much for your time today. I believe you answered everyone's questions that came through. We just thank you again for providing such good insight and advice, and we did share your contact information. And just to let everyone know, we will follow back up with the recording of this presentation as well as Ileana's information. Thank you all for attending today's information session. We hope that you enjoyed this, and we look forward to you tuning in to some of our other upcoming information sessions soon. Thank you so much. Take care and enjoy your afternoon. Bye-bye.